I invited 2 friends to my room and asked them to follow my lead. They shared everything with me, but it still wasn't enough. Not even close. So I looked them in the eyes and said, "Don't hold back. Show me what you really feel." Before we dive in, make sure to like this video and hit subscribe if you haven't already. And if this is your first time here, welcome. You picked a heartfelt one to start with. Let's get into it. The water was hot, almost too hot, but I didn't care. I needed something, anything to calm my heart. I'd been searching for peace for minutes, breathing in slow, deep circles, but nothing was happening. Not the way I needed it to. My back was pressed against the cool tile, chest rising and falling, lips parted in silence as I tried again. Slower then faster. Still no calm. I adjusted my stance. One foot braced against the wall, trying a different way. My hands rested gently, my breath quickened, and I smiled softly when a tiny spark of warmth appeared, but it faded just as fast. I let out a low, frustrated sigh and didn't stop. I kept going. I relaxed, shifted, breathed deeper, hoping something would settle. My skin felt sensitive, my heart racing, but nothing I did seemed to be enough. I even closed my eyes and tried to picture something comforting, someone special, anything that might finally bring me peace. But the thoughts came and went like whispers, too faint, too distant. My hands felt tired. Still nothing. I needed more. I was longing for it. It was like my heart was too full, my feelings too strong, and nothing, not even my own quiet moment, could ease it. The longing was there, calling deep inside me, but that restlessness refused to fade. I let out a breathless sigh and turned the water off, annoyed with myself, with the cozy inn, with the quiet of the night. I grabbed a towel from the hook and wrapped it around me with a little more care than needed. The air in the room was cool against my warm skin. I walked over to the bed, placed a soft blanket over the sheets, and lay down on my back. My hair clung to my shoulders. My legs shifted restlessly beneath the towel at my waist, and my chest rose and fell in shallow, thoughtful breaths. I was flushed, full of feeling and yearning all over. It wasn't just loneliness anymore. It was a deep need, the kind that grows quietly until it fills your whole heart. My thoughts drifted to the man at check-in. Tall, kind, a bit older. He barely looked me in the eye but noticed everything. And his friend, warmer, more outgoing, with that smile that lingered a little too long. Neither of them said anything forward, but they didn't have to. My eyes flicked to the phone on the nightstand. Was it too much? Too direct? Maybe not. Maybe they could help. I reached out anyway, letting my fingers hover over the keypad for a second longer than I needed to. Then I picked it up and called the front desk. The phone rang twice before someone answered. "Front desk," came the familiar voice. Calm, kind. The same one who welcomed me hours ago. "Hi," I said softly, letting the word linger. "I need help with something in my room." A pause. "What kind of help?" I smiled. "Could you come take a look? I think it's better if I show you." Another pause. Then, "Sure, be right there." I hung up before he could say anything else. Still wrapped in the soft towel, warm from the shower, I sat up and let my fingers trace the edge of the fabric at my legs. For a second, I considered changing. Maybe the cozy sweater I'd packed, or that soft shirt I usually wore to relax, but I didn't move. This was enough. I walked slowly toward the door, letting each step settle me deeper into the moment. A knock came less than a minute later, then a second, warmer one. I opened it. They were both there. The tall one stood slightly back, quiet, thoughtful. His friend was closer, warm and steady, his hand still raised from knocking. Their eyes softened almost immediately. I watched them take in the soft towel, the damp strands of hair, the gentle light behind me. "Something wrong in here?" the warm one asked, his voice low but caring. I didn't move aside, just tilted my head. "That depends," I said. "Are either of you good with heartfelt talks?" Their expressions changed. Just a flicker, but enough. Surprise giving way to something softer. Understanding. I stepped back. The tall one moved first, slow and gentle. The warm one followed, glancing between me and the room like he wanted to be sure. I closed the door behind them. The air felt warmer now, closer. They lingered near the wall, posture open. I passed between them, the edge of the towel brushing my legs, their attention drawn to every step. "I didn't call because something was broken," I said. "I just didn't feel like being alone anymore." They didn't answer, still waiting, still listening. So I made the choice for them. I turned to the tall one and stepped in. He looked at me, really at me, but stayed still. So I reached for his hand and placed it in mine, lightly, steady. He didn't pull away. His palm was warm, gentle, caring. The warm one waited a moment, then stepped closer. His hand rested on my shoulder and slowly moved along my arm, sharing the quiet space I was offering. I smiled, let them feel how open I was. How certain. Then without a word, I let the towel fall loose. It slid softly to the floor, and I hugged the tall one first. The hug deepened the moment our arms wrapped around each other. I pulled the tall one closer with both hands at his back, then broke away, just long enough to reach for the warm one's hand and draw him into a gentle embrace. Back and forth, I hugged them both, slow, heartfelt, letting them feel just how much I was in control. Their hands hovered, unsure where to settle. So I took them one at a time and placed them where I wanted, at my sides, along my arms, against my back. I looked up at them, my breath warm against their shoulders. "Open up to me," I said, nodding toward their hearts. "All of it." They hesitated for only a second. Then, the tall one shared his feelings first. The warm one followed, revealing kind words, a gentle smile, and a quiet warmth in the way his voice softened. I didn't rush them. I wanted to listen. When they reached for me, I nodded. Now yes, I lowered myself to sit on the floor, calm and sure. I started with the tall one, my hands resting at his arms, words soft as I invited him to share. His breath steadied. His fingers gently touched my shoulder. But he didn't push or rush. I stayed in control. I set the tone. I listened with care, offering gentle words, letting him feel each pause in silence. His voice softened beneath my attention. I listened closely for every feeling. I wanted to make him feel safe to open up. Then I turned to the warm one. He was already full of emotion, warmth running through him. I let my words reach him first, calm, heartfelt, before leaning in again. His voice slipped out tender. I paused, then gave him the same gentle attention, changing tone, adjusting words, never offering too much at once, watching them respond, watching walls come down. I kept alternating, my words to one, my listening to the other, careful and intentional. The air felt heavy with connection. Every second moved to my pace, my choices, but inside I was still searching. What I drew from them didn't fill the space in me. I listened and still felt untouched, still longing. "Bed," I said, standing tall again. Now we moved together. Sheets rustled, voices softened, and I leaned back, but not to yield, only to lead. I stayed upright, pillows at my back, and gently pulled the warm one closer, curling my fingers into his hand. He spoke with quiet care, gentle, steady. His words began to reach me, soft and thoughtful. I closed my eyes and tried to let it carry me, let it ease the ache that had taken root. The tall one stayed near. I reached for him and brought him close, sharing quiet words again, sinking one feeling into another. The room was filled with gentle voices and warmth, and the hush of shared hearts. Their words were steady, their listening deep, their focus unwavering. And mine stayed quiet. I was flushed, too aware of everything, caught between longing and waiting. Like reaching through mist, I listened, but nothing fully met me. I shifted, held one hand tighter, encouraged the other with my words, my breath, my heart. Still no peace. Longing bubbled, not at them, but at the feeling that wouldn't settle. I let out a sharp breath and sat up. I eased myself closer to the warm one, settling near with a quiet exhale. His hands came to rest near mine like he didn't know whether to speak first or listen. So I took the lead again. I began to share, opening gently, directing every word. My hands held his, my heart open. I shifted closer over and over, searching for something just out of reach. I leaned forward, bringing the tall one close again and sharing soft words once more. They were all in, offering me kindness, warmth, presence. I had every part of their hearts, and still I felt empty. I pressed closer with more intention. Let my words move with more feeling. My whole heart tightened around the effort, repeating, hoping, needing. My breath caught. My heart lifted. I hovered on the edge and yet nothing gave. There was no calm, no wave, just warmth, burning low and deep but never settling, full of feeling unreleased, wrapped in emotion and still longing for more. So I kept going and still nothing. "Don't hold back," I said, locking eyes with them. "Help me feel everything." That was all it took. No hesitation, no second guessing. Something shifted like they'd been waiting for permission. They opened up fully together. I was drawn closer. guided to the center of the bed with a gentle, caring touch. Their words were everywhere, comforting me, sharing stories like I was meant to hear them, one beside me, one across. Their presence closed in, warm and comforting. The warm one adjusted nearer. I felt his hand gentle at my side, caring for just a breath. Then his words pressed close, heartfelt and sure. No more restraint. The tall one moved closer. His hand slipped into mine, not tentative this time. He shared deeper feelings again, more certain, more open. I welcomed him without hesitation, listening as he spoke fully. My heart raced. My fingers curled into the sheets. They weren't matching my words anymore. They created their own, and I had to listen deeply. His voice carried forward, steady and warm, making my eyes soften with feeling. Beside me, the warm one's words grew deeper. I tried to speak, but it disappeared into breath and warmth and connection. There were no questions, no distant touches, and I didn't need either because this was what I asked for. They spoke in harmony, one drawing me forward, the other holding me close. My heart raced from the effort of feeling it all, but I didn't stop. They kept me close, held by warmth and trust. When the tall one paused, I sighed, only for the warm one to draw me in tighter with renewed care. His voice was gentle beside me, his presence steady. He wasn't holding back. Neither was I. My head rested softly, my heart opened fully. I lifted my gaze again, ready for the next wave. And they didn't make me wait. I barely had time to breathe before I felt their hands near again, gentle, shifting, turning me like they already knew exactly what came next. They didn't give me time to pause. The tall one helped me sit upright while the warm one lifted my spirit, adjusting with steady kindness. I was calm, breathless, my heart open as they shared more, head rested gently, arms loose, every part of me open to their words. I looked at the ceiling softly, the world warm, barely able to take in the shift before they were sharing again. The warm one spoke closer, finding his words without pause. His voice was kind and immediate, like he knew exactly how to touch my heart. My hands held the sheets gently. Then the tall one leaned in, sharing soft words again with more warmth, guiding my feelings as I listened to his heart. There was no control left, not even the need for it. I welcomed him as best I could, opening with the moment, breath catching as feelings grew. My heart softened, breathing grew deeper. I couldn't speak much. Every part of me responded, drawn in, swept up, alive. I tried to make a sound, but it vanished into warmth and connection. A soft sigh stayed in my chest, caught beneath the feeling building in every part. I trembled under the beauty of their words, unable to stay still. Then the tall one paused, holding steady, his presence close, warm but gentle, while the warm one kept sharing, measured, heartfelt, each word carrying feeling further. And suddenly, everything settled. The peace I'd been chasing all night finally arrived. It washed through me like a wave, sudden and all-consuming. My heart lifted fully. My breath softened. I let out a sound I couldn't contain, gentle and true, as the moment filled me completely. My soul warmed with every ripple, and happy tears slipped quietly. But they didn't stop. The warm one stayed in rhythm. The tall one paused just enough for me to breathe, then shared again with a quiet, tender sound that warmed my heart. I had just found peace, and they were only getting started. I barely felt them guide me again. Somewhere between soft breaths and gentle thoughts, the warm one lay back on the bed and brought me closer, settling me near, my heart still full from what had just passed. My feelings followed without resistance, carried by trust. I tried to steady myself, tried to take in the moment, but then I sensed the tall one moving nearer, his hand gentle at my side. And then came something deeper, softer, unexpected. I inhaled softly, not from surprise, but from pure warmth. He shared with care, his words deliberate and steady, easing into place like it was meant to be. My head rested forward, breath caught in my throat, lips parted in wonder as I felt the new closeness. They surrounded me now, one beside me, guiding my heart, one near, anchoring each word in warmth. It felt like my heart wasn't just mine anymore, filled with words, sound, and feeling I couldn't contain. They shared together, seamless, caring, like they knew exactly how to open me fully. My arms reached gently. My fingers rested on the warm one's hand, trying to hold on. I made soft sounds I didn't expect, gentle words, breathless,